Hey folks, and welcome to Truck King. This is the Ford Bronco Heritage Edition, and yes, it's all about calling back to the Broncos of many decades ago. So in this video, we'll talk about the package, we'll talk about the styling, but you know we're gonna go off-road with it. And I'm gonna do something a little bit different today. We're gonna go off-road in two-wheel drive and see if we can stop the Bronco. Then we'll start using lockers, then we'll put it in four-wheel, and we'll keep going and see how much capability we need to add. Hey, maybe it can make it through in two-wheel drive. Let's find out right now. Powering our Bronco Heritage Limited Edition today is the 2.7 liter turbocharged V6 engine. This thing makes 315 horsepower, 410 pound-feet of torque, and that is sent through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Although you can get it with a manual, which is pretty cool that we still have that option from Ford. Now, before I dive into the package, I do have to start this one off with the price because it feels kind of outlandish. For our two-door limited edition Heritage model we have here today, you're talking about a little over $94,000 here in Canada. So this one, as you see it, won't come cheap. Now that the sticker shock is out of the way, let's talk about what you get for the money. So Bronco Heritage models always have a two-tone paint job, and one of those colors is the signature Oxford white that you see on the roof and on the grille. Now up front, you're getting that race red Ford lettering, while underneath you're getting 17-inch aluminum Heritage wheels, also finished in that Oxford white. Plus the wheels have a classic dog dish design, which again is a callback to the 1960s Bronco. Inside, the Bronco Heritage Edition get exclusive touches like an Oxford white instrument panel. Now, the model you're looking at here today is actually the Heritage Limited Edition, and it gets a couple small tweaks, such as the metal Bronco script fender badging, and inside these are actually leather trimmed vinyl plaid seats with white and race red accent stitching, plus the unique Heritage Limited console badging. And yes, from the outside this thing looks sharp. The interior though truly looks amazing with this color combination. So now you know what it costs and you know what comes with the package. Drop in the comments now and let me know, would you buy one of these, and what do you think about the way it looks? Let's look underneath our Bronco Sasquatch right now. So I got my magnet here to test materials. First, tow hooks, super exposed up there in the front. And what I love here, that's actually a steel bumper right there. You go right from steel bumper to your first skid plate, also steel. Coming back right into another skid plate, also steel. Third skid plate, also steel. You're sensing a theme here. These are all steel skid plates. Ford doesn't mix materials. Yeah, it's steel all the way back. And this is really great coverage up front. I love the way these skid plates overlap. There's no real gaps. Now, the one thing you'll notice, of course, on a Bronco, independent front suspension. You don't get an axle up here like you do in a Jeep Wrangler. And then you can also see the unique shocks. You get these remote reservoir shocks here, which are also unique to the Sasquatch model of the Bronco when you get the big 35s. So yeah, as I roll back, I'll just check them anyway. Transfer case skid plate, steel, and then maybe my favorite one, the fuel tank skid plate, also steel. A lot of brands opt for some heavy duty plastic for the fuel tank, but yeah, I just like the fact that it's steel. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel like if I do kiss a rock right on the fuel tank, it's going to be okay. Finally, looking at your rear end, you get those same remote reservoir shocks. Back here, of course, we do have a solid axle, and then no spare tire underneath. That's because it's hanging off the back door. So what are the numbers here? And let me tell you, they are pretty impressive. So you're dealing with a 100.4-inch wheelbase. That is pretty small. A 43.2-degree approach angle. That's an excellent number. Anything over 40 is amazing for off-roading. Out back, you're getting just over a 37-degree departure angle. Breakover angle here is 29 degrees, which is a really good number, and that's because the wheelbase is so small. And yes, this is the Sasquatch package, and it's technically a Badlands underneath the Heritage Edition. So we're getting those 35-inch tires, which result in overall ground clearance at 11.6 inches. Now, what are the tires? They're a set of Goodyear Wrangler Territories. Now, there's one funny thing. You won't actually see the word Wrangler printed on the sidewall. That's on purpose. Ford would not allow the word Wrangler to appear on their vehicle, so Goodyear makes these special for Ford. And if you're wondering, they are 315/70 R17s. All right, folks, time to go off-road. And like I mentioned, we are in two-wheel drive, normal mode. So nothing is on. This is as the least amount of off-road capability in terms of all the systems on the Bronco that you can get. And let's see what happens. You know, I've run Bronco with Sasquatch package through my trails. I know it'll make it. So rather than just doing that again, let's see how far it makes it in two-wheel drive. Oh yeah, the ditch crossing is pretty dry right now. And the real key with running something like I am in two-wheel drive is that the clearance here is so good to begin with that it should be okay. Let's see. Struggling. Traction control. Oh, more slip. Nice. Okay, so you saw it. If I was in four-wheel, I probably wouldn't have slipped at all. In two-wheel, yeah, it was slipping a little bit, but not massively. And what I really love is that traction control kicked in right away. So it's essentially acting as a locker. So even though I'm not locked up, the traction control was able to send the power exactly where it needed to be. So no problem on the ditch crossing. Let's see how the ruts are handled in two-wheel drive. And yes, apologies, the grass is exceptionally long right now. But yeah, this is still going to be a good test. So I kind of expected to be able to do it. I might need the rear locker, but we're going to find out. Traction control, from what I felt, though, is already really doing a nice job. Oh. Man, so I'm putting my foot pretty deep into the pedal. It's throttling back my power, but that's because traction control is figuring out what to do. Uh-oh. I'm now at a point where it seems as though I cannot overcome. Okay, that's enough of that. So before I put it in four-wheel drive, I'm actually going to engage the rear locker. And I love Ford for allowing me to put the rear locker on without needing to be in four or in low. So let's just see. I'm going to back up just a hair. And now with my rear locked up, let's see if that makes all the difference. Here we go. There's that locker, man. Oh, look at that. Okay. Come on, tires. Come on, find the grip. These ruts are muddy too, so sadly, it's not going to find the grip. Let me hit it with a little bit of momentum. No, oh, maybe. It wants to do something. Now, without those front tires clawing me through, it just can't do it. Now, I'm going to try one more thing before four-wheel drive, which is the drive modes, although I do think they're going to want to put me into four-wheel. So if I go into mud ruts mode automatically puts me into four-wheel drive, and it disconnected my front sway bar. So I went to mud and ruts mode, now I'm four high, disconnected front. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Little slip, crawled right out. Well, that goes to show you that, yes, you know, four-wheel drive really matters, lockers really do matter. Two-wheel drive, you're just not getting enough power to the ground. I thought maybe it would have done it, but not quite. But now let's go try a trail like the Hydro line, and on the same thing, I'm going to run it in two-wheel drive first. Let's see how far we get. All right, now up the mud on the Hydro line, and the water's actually gone away, but the thick mud is still here. And again, I'm in two-wheel drive again. Back to two-wheel. Let's see how these tires do. Now in two-wheel, momentum really matters, so I am building up a bit of momentum. Nice. Nice. Definitely slipping. Oh man, they're digging in back there. But this is also a better test of your tires, man. And so far, the territories feel pretty good. You know, not quite as good as a mud terrain, let's say, like I was testing out here on Big Green recently. But yeah, pretty good. So slipping through there and spinning, but so far so good in two-wheel. Continuing on here. And honestly, it's feeling pretty good in two-wheel drive. There's a big rock. There's a big rock. But this is what you get when you have the basics of off-roading, things like clearance and an amazing approach angle. Certainly four-wheel drive matters, but it matters a little less. Okay, down into the deep water. Let's see what happens. Two-wheel drive. Let's go, Bronco. Feeling good. There are a couple big rocks near the end of this hole. See what happens. Yes, Bronco. Uh-oh. Oh, bit of spin there coming out of the hole, more than I'm used to feeling. Now up the rocks with almost no momentum. Oh, yeah, more spin right there, and traction control's doing its thing. But there you go. Bronco just owned that trail in two-wheel drive. Nicely done, man. And I think, you know what, there's one other thing that needs to be said, which is that on public trails, it is fair. You don't want to do this, exactly what I'm doing, because you're going to tear up the trail, right? Tires are spinning, you're doing trail damage. Generally, that's a little frowned upon. So I totally get that. But what can I say? This is private property. These are my trails, and I'm chewing them up in the name of science to find out how this thing works in two-wheel drive. Okay, dropping back in now. And this is all me. I don't want to do any trail control, hill descent control today. I love driving off-road, so I'm driving it. Yes, it bounced over that rock really well. Oh yeah, pushing the water. And the tires feel like they're slipping a little bit in there, but not enough to actually stop me. Not enough to stop me. Oh, climbing out. Climbing out. Yeah, a little slippage there too. Took some chugging away, but it made it. Great clearance, good angles. And the Bronco's walking through in two-wheel. Let's go hit up the left hook, see what happens. And everybody, make sure you give cameraman Liam a shout out in the comments. The bugs are brutal today. It's a little overcast. And yeah, you see, he's out there hiking through this thick swamp while I'm in here driving through it. So give him an appreciation comment right now. Go show your love. All right, and now we start in to our other main off-road trail, the left hook. Again, not a ton of standing water, but the mud is as thick as ever. And it made me laugh when we got out after the hydro line, because the white wheels, well, they ain't white anymore. Oh, traction control, slippage there. Up out of this little hole. Oh man, no, Bronco, no! I'm not going to give up here yet, folks. You know what? I am going to use momentum, because that's your friend, especially when you're in two-wheel drive. Ready? Here we go. Hit it, 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 hit it. Yes! So yeah, you know what? You can also adjust your driving style. And I often say, I try not to use momentum because I think that's a better test of a vehicle. It's a better test of grip. It's a better test of traction control. But frankly, if you want to make it through, sometimes you have to hit it with momentum. And in two-wheel drive, yeah, momentum is your friend. So I backed up. I was able to come into that with a bit of momentum and pulled me right through. I don't know about the hill on the left hook, but we shall see. Stay tuned. I do feel like there's a bit of two schools of thought on sort of engaging things like lockers and sway bar disconnects. And the way I was raised, the way Dad always taught me, his line of thinking was always go in unlocked, go in without anything disengaged or the sway bar disengaged. And then if you get stuck, well, then you still have one more system, one more thing that's going to help you through, rather than going in fully engaged and then getting stuck and then you have no more tricks up your sleeve. Now, again, I think the opposite line of thinking is go in fully locked up so you don't even give yourself a chance to get into a sticky situation. And that's usually what I do. I like to go into these things, yeah, in four-wheel off-road modes. But today we're going with Dad's line of thinking, going in two-wheel drive unlocked, and we'll see what happens. And if I need to start to go into the Bronco's bag of tricks, we will. Here we go. And this muddy section so far feels okay. Yeah. Through the swamp. Oh, I'm spinning now. Spinning and digging. Right here is going to be the tricky part. Spinning and digging. Come on, baby. Come on. Ah, that's going to be it right there, guys. You know what? So before four-wheel drive, once again, I'm just going to go rear lock. I'm going to reverse just a hair. Let's see if just the rear locker can help power me through here. Ready? Here we go. Nah, it's not going to make a difference. No grip is no grip. Okay, I will admit defeat, and we'll go over into four high. Four-wheel drive shift in progress, four high, rear end still locked. Actually, here, I'm going to unlock, so just four high, unlock, normal mode. And of course, my front tires were already up out of that hole, so sending the power forward, they were able to bite, bounce over the rocks, and pull me up the hill. Okay, now I am going to use one other trick here just because I like to test it. This is trail control, so my foot is off the gas, off the brake. The Bronco is doing the braking for me, bringing me down this hill. It's really dark out here today, just with the overcast. But yeah, look at this trail control. This is working really nice and smooth. I have it set at 3 kilometers per hour, no problem. I am still in 4 high. And now I'm going to dial up the speed, 10 kilometers an hour. Actually, let's go to 8. Let's go to 8, and let's see if 8 kilometers an hour will suck me through this mud. And there's a little hill here too. Let's see what it does. Nice, really fast engagement and fast reaction. As I hit that little mud hill, sometimes some systems can really let the vehicle, slow down, bog down. The second it detected that hill, it felt like it just laid into the throttle and pulled me up and over. So yeah, trail control is pretty cool. It's the old story, guys. I have been having way more fun out here in two-wheel drive driving this thing myself. But with something like trail control, it does work well, and it can frankly just do things that I can't in terms of braking one wheel or another.